Hello there and welcome my fellow Pythonistas. In this video we are going to continue our Django journey. Oh, what a nice way to put it. So basically I would like to show you how we can create a multi-application project with Django. So the idea is to create a calculator project, and we will have an application for summary, for multiply, and for divide. So let's get to it. We use the Django admin to start project, and let's call this YT calculator. Maybe this one. Yeah, this works. And here what we have to do is to use the Django admin to create our application called sum. Now let's open up our favorite code editor, and basically this is what we would like to do. We create a folder in the root directory, and inside this folder we will have two files. One is going to be the main.html and the other is going to be the index.html. What we have to do after this is the following. In the main.html, this is going to be a simple code. We have a head with a title, and we have a block content that we want to modify with the different apps. And this should go to the main, because this is the base template that will be inherited. Now we will create our index.html. So I want to create a landing page. When someone visits this URL in the base context root, this should be served. It should provide links to all the small applications, and we will have the sum here. All right, and after that what we have to do is to go to the settings of the YT calculator and simply say that we want to say that the installed apps are sum.apps.sum config, and this should come from the sum apps. So this is what we have included, and we want to have the templates folder extended, so we use the base there /templates. And let's rename this here. All right, and yeah, what we also want to do here under the URLs is to create a new path. The new path is going to be the default context route, and we say that this comes from the views.index, and the name is going to be index. And in order to do that, we have to import the views. And in order to import the views, we have to create the file. So inside the views, the following needs to happen. What we would like to do is to import from the Django.shortcuts the render function, and we create our index function. It takes a request and returns the render for the request with the index.html. And basically this should be enough to execute the application. And if you visit not a valid view function, or hold on, so URLs here we also have to use the include, and with the include we have to include the sum.urls. And let's go a bit further. So we create our urls.py, and we also create our templates folder and inside the templates we create the sum, and inside the sum we will have a new file called index.html. And since we have the URLs file, what we would like to do is to import with the views and the path. We don't need the include, and basically we say that the index is going to take a request, and we return the render. So from, hold on, this is not the right file. We will have the URL patterns, and we say that the path is going to be sum, and the views.index, and the name is going to be sum. So let's go here and create our index with the request, and return render request and the sum / index.html. This should look better. So if I run the application and I don't forget the comma, so this is one place and this is going to be another place. All right, so now we have a working site, and if we were to go to the let's sum things up, we have an empty page. So let's populate it. What we would like to do is to create the index.html with the following content. So first we have to extend the main.html, and inside the block content we will do the following. Come on. So here we have the end block content, and let's create an h1 tag with the summary, and we say that the paragraph says that in order to use this context route you have to specify x and y as a query string. And let's close this. So if I go back and refresh it, then we don't use the right word, so this should be extends in plural. So we have the default, then we visit here and we get the message. After that, what we have to do is the following. We go to our views, and we say that x is equal to request.get x, otherwise none, and y is equal to request.get y, otherwise none. And if x and y, then what we would like to do is to define the context, and basically we say that the result is going to be int x plus int y, and we will have the x and we will have the y. Otherwise, the context is going to be basically empty, and we return the context. So now, if we refresh it, we should have the option to check whether a variable is defined in the context. So technically we could say that if result length is greater than 0, otherwise we say that there are no arguments, and we should also end the if block. And if we have the result, what we could do is the following. So in the paragraph we could say that x is equal to x, and then break and say that y is equal to y, break, and the result is going to be result. And let's close the paragraph. So now if we go back, it says that it could not parse the remainder. Let's go with this. Yeah, there are no arguments. Yeah, but if I specify x equals 10 and y equals 20, you can see that this starts to work. So now we have one app which is working. What I would like to do is the following. If we go back here and take this example query, x equals 99 and y equals 33, we could create a link that is going to demonstrate the example usage. So let's create a paragraph, and inside there a link, and this is going to be the demonstration. We close the tag and here. So let's refresh it. If we go here, you can see that this is the example, and when there are no arguments we can see it, otherwise we can see the result. So let's call this example. Let's just make it a bit nicer. All right. So now basically the sum is working. What we would like to do is to create a new app called Multiply. So start app Multiply. All right. So what do? We go to the settings, and inside the settings we have to say that we have a new installed app called multiply.apps.multiply config, and inside the multiply, or not inside the multiply, but here under the URLs we have to use the path include multiply.urls. And once this is done, we can create our templates folder. Inside the templates folder we will have the multiply folder, and inside here we will have the index.html, and in the templates folder in the top directory we create a new reference and call this multiply. So if I go back and start my server, there are no multiply.urls. So let's create, come on, a new URLs file. Inside the URLs, it is going to be really similar to how the sum URLs work. So basically we say that we have the multiply, and this will be called multiply. And the views is also going to be similar. So basically here we would say that we need the render function, we have the X and the Y, and basically we change it to asterisk, and we say that we render the multiply dot index.html. This is basically the same, and let's repurpose this one and go here. So this is going to be the multiply context route in order to query string. All right, and this should be X and Y, and let's call this multiply. All right, so let's go back. If we open the default page, oh, we don't want to sum things up, we want to multiply things. So templates, main, index, let's multiply things. All right, the sum is still working fine. And if we go to the multiply, you can see we are on the other application, and technically there are no arguments, but if we visit this URL, it is working as expected. And there is another demo, so we could say that this no, I don't want to go into that direction. So basically this is how we have bootstrapped a new application to our system or project. And let's create the divide. Let's go to the run server, and you already know what we have to modify. So here in the URLs we have to include the divide, and the views stay the same. And here in the index.html we use the divide. Let's divide things, and if we go there and create our divide templates folder, then we can create our divide folder and the index.html folder, and basically we have to create the URLs, and inside the URLs we will have the divide, and we call it divide, and the views can be repurposed from the sum or the other one. And basically what we would like to do is to divide these values, and inside the index.html we can also repurpose this. Divide, and we don't have the divide.urls, but we should. So multiply works, sum works, and divide should also work. Oh, I forgot to rewrite that one. So oh, I know what's the problem. Haha, divide. So the divide is not found. Templates, divide. Why is it not able to find it? URLs, views, index, and it should work. But it's working. So let's troubleshoot it. We have the divide.urls included. In the URLs we have the divide. In the views we say that we want to use the divide index.html, and here we have the index.html. Let's see. Templates, divide. Okay. So YouTube calculator, divide, index.html, divide index.html. So it is supposed to look for that in here. So divide and the views. And the multiply. Templates. All right. Render. Views. So technically, let's swap it out. And that was the problem. And it's working. Oh, sorry. Almost. So divide, and divide. And what we can also do is to basically say that we want to round it off a little bit. So into 2 digits. So there we go. And that was all I wanted to show you. See you in the next one.